Hey guys, so I've got a couple of laptops here, and I think that most people have at least one laptop at home. And if you're a gamer and you've got access to a laptop, chances are that you'll want to play a game on that laptop at some point. This is an Alienware M15. It's got a 2080 Max-Q GPU, and yeah, it's an absolute beast. This can play the latest version of Modern Warfare at 4K 60 frames per second on the 4K screen. It's an absolute beast and it's fantastic. But then you get laptops like this. I unboxed this yesterday on my tech YouTube channel. This is the Dell XPS 13. It's the 7390 model. It's got an i7 10510U processor or 10510U processor. It's a quad-core ultra-low voltage CPU, and this does not have a graphics card. This has UHD 620 graphics, so you have to rely on integrated graphics. Now, I know that this is not a gaming laptop. This is really for productivity. It's portable, it's light, it's sexy. Only weighs about 1.25 kilograms or something like that. And yeah, it's not designed for games. It can play games, but it's not really been marketed or created for games. But the laptop that you play games on is sometimes, well, for many people, it's just the laptop that you have, and you just have to work around whatever you've got. So if you buy a laptop like this for university, for travel, for work, for whatever, then this is the one that you'll probably want to play some games on. And that's what I want to do in this video. You can see that I've got Doom here and touchscreen here, fantastic. But you can see that I've got Doom here, and that's what I'd like to do in this video. I'd like to show you Doom playing on this. Now, Doom is a first-person shooter game from 2016. It's not the early 90s version. I would say that you can see that, I mean, I've actually got a lot of them installed in my Steam library there. I would say that for older, for portable laptops like this, I think the older games are better. I think if you go back 5, 6, 10 years, 15 years, you can play almost any game at high settings. That will not be the case here. Doom requires a lot of power. This does not have a lot of power. But I thought it'd be interesting to show you guys how it all works. Now, what I will say before I get going is that I had this initially set up for about an hour. I had the green screen up. I had this connected to my Elgato to show you all directly. Unfortunately, I can't do this. This has got a 13.3 inch display, and for most people, the 1080p version of that display is the one to get because you get extra battery life, and you can't really notice a massive difference between 1080p and 4K on this size of display. But because I use Photoshop, I do video editing, I take a lot of screenshots, I had to go for the 4K version. Because of that, this has got 4K at 59 Hertz, I think, and my recorder can only do 4K at 30 Hertz. It kept downgrading, like kind of reducing the frame rate, and it just looked horrible. So, long story short, I'm going to use my overhead camera instead. That's my hope. So, you can see here, guys, just to kind of show you this. This is a very lightweight laptop. This is the power cable, and this is where I've installed Doom. I've decided to install it on my external hard drive, but it's quite a fast little hard drive, so yeah, should be okay. So if I zoom down, right. So you should be able to see this okay. I'll bring it around like that. I'll hold it like that. Unfortunately, the screen doesn't tilt very well. You can see that I've got a 4K display here, and advanced display settings. There we go. You can see 59 Hertz. So this can display natively. If you're playing a game, you can play up to 4K at 59 frames per second. Now, I would say that unless you're playing a very old game, chances are you won't be playing this at 4K, but it can do 4K up to 59 frames per second. You can, obviously get different frame rates if you use an external monitor. If you connect this to an external monitor, then, you could, if you drop the resolution, you can go to any frame rate that you want. Another thing I'll show you, actually, I should have brought this up. I think I did bring it up and then I closed it because it's a touchscreen. The other thing is just to show you the system settings again. So this particular model is Windows 10 Home. I've got that i7 quad-core low-voltage CPU, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and I've got a 512 gigabyte SSD. And another reason for showing you via the overhead camera is because when you connect a monitor, obviously it uses a little bit of power to, power that. So the CPU right now is 3-4%. Nothing's really happening, but what I will say is that when I put on Doom just now, the fans will go a little bit noisier. And that is why I've decided to use this microphone. Look at the way I'm holding this. That's why I've decided to use this microphone for this video, so that you don't pick up as much of the fan noise. But I want to show you, the reason I want to show you this as well, because I want to show you this loading up. I want to show you, well, how slow this is really to load up. It's not ideal, but again, this is not, I mean, this game is really too powerful for this screen. It really is. For this laptop, sorry. I will say though, with the 4K screen, it does look really, really good. So I'll set it down like that. Maybe that's a little bit better just now until I mess about with some things. Can I do that? Right. I've got it leaning. Just to show you, I just want to show you how I've got this just now. This is how I have got this, because the screen doesn't go down. This is what I've had to do. Right, so this is it here. This is Doom, right? And I've got it set up so that, well, I should have it set up so that you can see the frames per second and all that. That's how I set it up before. So yeah, you can see it there. Frames per second. Right, so I was messing about with this before, which is why the resolution is so slow. I did a lot of tests. Now, right now you can see that this is at 60 frames per second, but that's because I've got the settings super, super low. Super low. Right now I've got the resolution at 640. 640. Now, the resolution on this isn't great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the aspect ratio. We're going to start from the top. I'm going to go 16:9. Then we're going to go 4K. So here we go, 4K. Now, you would never play this game at 4K on this laptop. You would never ever play it with that. But I'm really just really trying to show you why you wouldn't play it here. Now, it's hard for you to see here. If I zoom down a little bit more, see if you look in the corner here, you can see that 5 frames per second. Now, that is just the menu. That is just the menu. If you go into the game, it's like 1 or 2 frames per second. It's unusable, completely unusable. And even, if you see here, even moving my mouse around is an absolute nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. It's, you know, you would never use it like that. Even changing the settings here is very, very difficult. I'm going to use the arrow keys here. Go up to 1920 by 1080. Try that. Okay, so if I zoom out a little bit, you should be able to see the frames per second now. If I zoom out. Okay, that's a little bit better. You can see that now, can't you? Right, so I've kind of got it in the frame. So now it's at 1080p, right? So I just want to check the advanced settings because I had to reset the computer earlier. So I've got everything at low, right? So there's presets, and you can set it, you know, you can set the presets at low or high, whatever. But I think that if you're playing this game on a laptop like this, it's going to be low. It's going to be the lowest settings. You're not going to have all the shades and, you know, all the kind of shadows and everything else. It's going to be the lowest setting. Now, I would say at this point, everything's at low here. There's probably a few things maybe you could switch off as well. Maybe you could make it even lower. But I would say at this point that 1080p, 19 frames per second. Yeah, this isn't ideal. Now, of course, I could go into the game and show you this, right? But I played this earlier on and it's not the best. It really isn't the best. You know, 18 frames per second, you're going to get killed. You know, let's be honest, you're going to die because it's really, really jerky. Now, there's obviously more resolutions here, but at 16:9, the lowest one is 720p. Now, 720p sounds crazy on a full HD or a 4K screen, but it doesn't actually look that bad. I don't think it looks that bad. And right away, look at the frames per second now. So we're getting up to where we want to go. Now, again, this has got a 59 Hertz display, so it can go up to the kind of 59, 60 frames per second mark natively on this screen. Via an external monitor, you know, that's a different story. Of course, it is worth pointing out as well that this has got 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports. You can connect this to an eGPU, so that is something else. Some people might be able to play games at 4K at 60 frames per second because they're connected to an eGPU, but this demonstration here, I really just want to show you the laptop itself. Look at me holding this for the camera for you guys. So we're at 40 frames per second now, so I think that's worth checking out. So we're at 720p. So if I go back now, I'll just do practice mode and we'll just start a game with some bots. Now, 40 frames per second, I think for a game like this, it's not perfect, but I think it's playable. I think it's playable at this point. Now, of course, because it's integrated graphics, because there isn't a dedicated GPU, the CPU will be being put under a lot of stress here. It'll be put under a lot of pressure, which is why the fans are going crazy. And if I put my mic down to it, you might be able to hear the fans a little bit more. Now, I'll just pick Assault. Now, I've got the keys upside down here. Okay. Can I just say that this is absolutely horrific trying to do this with... I'll show you what I'm doing here. This is how I'm trying to play this game right now. Right, the most important thing here is that I can actually show you the game moving. Right. Get my finger over the W there. Right, here we go. So, I want to just move around and... It's actually, I would say at this point, it's quite playable, I would say. It's not too bad. Now, you could obviously connect a controller as well if you don't want to use the keys. I'm just trying to move around for you guys just to show you what's going on. I'm dead now. I'll move around a little bit more. Oh, I'm dead. Yeah, so you can see here now, though, it's up to 60 frames per second now in the game. That's really good. That's really good. Now, that I wasn't really paying attention there. So you can see that's 26 frames per second. Now, it will go up and down. It's going up now. 33 frames per second. 30. We're dropping. My guess is that we do need a different resolution here to get it a little bit smoother. Can I just point out, guys, I've never played this game. I've played the older versions of Doom. I had it for the PC in the 90s, but I've not played this one yet. I only bought it recently. I've only installed it today for the purpose of this video. And I'm now using a keyboard upside down in the laptop. I would say that the average there, you know, it's saying the average 35, but I would say the average, we're really getting about 30 frames per second normally when you're walking about with this. So let's jump out. We'll quit this and we'll see if we can improve that. And what I'm trying to do at this point is just trying to get closer to that 59 frames per second, which is what this native display can handle. So I'll go back out here. I'm going to go back into the settings and we're going to go back into video. Now, as I showed you earlier on, you know, it's saying 43 frames per second there, but it's going to be a little bit lower when we're actually in the game. Now, what I'm going to do now is change the aspect ratio. Now, obviously, this has got a 16:9 display, but if I change it, if I change the aspect ratio here, I'm going to get different resolutions available to me. So perhaps, maybe this is maybe the wrong aspect ratio, but maybe try 4:3 or 5:3. Right, so there's 5:3. I'll push escape and then we'll apply the settings. So frames per second at the top there doesn't really change now. In fact, it's a couple of frames per second lower, so that's not ideal. That's not what we want. We want to get to an aspect ratio and a resolution that's going to give us, you know, maybe about the 59, 60 frames per second. So we're just trying to find the optimal settings here. So there's a little bit higher again. I think we could drop the resolution a little bit more. 640, 480p. This is how we did it back in the day. Okay, look at this, 60 frames per second. Right, so let's try this, right? And this is the thing, guys. It's a sweet spot. You want to disable different settings in the game. In your laptop, you want to, like, for example, you want to switch off Dropbox, you want to switch off anything else that's running in the background so that everything is just focusing on the game. That's really what you want to do. I'll try and get my finger here in the right area. So it says 60 frames per second here, but I'm curious as to whether this will change when I actually start playing it. Now, I know this is insane. I'm playing 480p on a 4K screen. I know this is insane. I know this is insane. And I know that I could also make these graphics better. The graphics look terrible at this point. And I realise that's, you know, all the information is being displayed on the screen, but it's going to be a little bit smoother now. Look at this, it's so much quicker. Now, and this is the thing, you know, it's really about getting the sweet spot, because what I could do, yes, this is a lower resolution on a high resolution screen. I could go back in and I could, you know, put the settings from low to medium or high even in this lower resolution. Maybe that would be fine. Obviously, all this information is not going to be there when you're playing the game. But really what this whole thing is really just a test to show you that you can play modern games on a small portable laptop that has discrete graphics, but you're going to have to take a hit. You're going to have to take a hit in the resolution. You're going to have to drop the resolution, and you're going to have to drop those settings from high to medium to low. But what I would say is that, and it's maybe hard for us, you know, for me to show you this. It's maybe hard for me to show you this here. And certainly, what I'll do actually, see if I can turn off the all the information, right? So we're getting about 60 frames per second, right? Show performance metrics. I'll just show the frame per second at the top, right? That's a little bit less distracting now, isn't it? Right. So we've just got the frames per second now. We'll get back. There we go. So we've got the lower resolution now. But we've got the high frame rate, so it's going to be a lot smoother. Now, I could probably put the settings up there. You can see the frame rate's dropping a little bit there. I could put the frame rate up though. Something's shooting me. And I'm dead again. I'm dead again. In my defense, this is an absolute nightmare to play it underneath the overhead camera. But again, what I was wanting to show you there really was that, you know, at the lower resolutions, I would say that it's more enjoyable at the lower resolutions than the higher resolutions that are jerky. You know, for a first-person shooter game like this, I would say drop the resolution and make sure it's smoother, rather than rather than, if I can get this out. Okay, I've got it there. I've got it there now. Yeah, I would say that if you were wanting to play a game like this and you were wanting to play it online, I would say that you'd really want to drop the resolution. You can play at 1080p if you want. 720p might be the sweet spot for some of you guys. You might think that 720p at 30 frames per second is fine for you for a game like this. Personally, I'd rather get it smoother and quicker and drop the resolution a little bit. And you saw there was a lot of aspect ratios. There was a lot of resolutions that I did not test. There's probably some resolutions that are better. But again, this whole test, I realize this whole test is crazy. It's ludicrous because I've got a 4K touchscreen here, and I'm running a game from 2016 that really does need a good graphics card. But if you're away, if you're at a hotel, if you're at work, I don't know, if there's a situation where you've got this laptop and you just want to break for 20 minutes or half an hour and you want to play a game, then yes, I do think that running older games, Command and Conquer, emulation of older consoles and all that, you're going to get maybe a better experience with those ones, certainly at a higher resolution. But this is playable. You just have to accept that you need to reduce the resolution and you need to reduce the frame rate if you do want a higher resolution. Personally, I'd go for the 720p and below. 480p at 60 frames per second. You know, obviously I was like this trying to play it there. You know, I think at 480p, you know, the graphics don't look as good, but it was more enjoyable. But I hope you've enjoyed this look at this. I realise it's a little bit of a silly test, but a lot of people are buying portable laptops now. A lot of people are buying the Dell XPS 13. The larger XPS 15 has got a 1650 graphics card. That's fine, but this one, It's got integrated graphics. There's a lot of cheaper laptops out there with larger screens that also have to rely on integrated graphics. Then you've got the Surface range, you've got tablets and all this type of thing. But you can still play on these systems. So I hope you've enjoyed this, guys. I realise I had this set up so differently before with a green screen, and you know, you could see the screen and all that, but it was looking really bad. It looked a lot better there. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this look at Doom from 2016. I'm surprised it does actually play quite well once you reduce the resolution. It does, and I suspect I could have put up the settings from low to medium there at the lower resolution as well, and it probably would have looked a lot better. But you can see there, 60. Not too bad, not too bad. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll speak to you all in the next one. Take care.